So I completed staining the cane and I've allowed it to dry overnight, and now I'm starting with the painting. As you can see, I've put a couple of lines of gold around our African mahogany here. Make a break between the topper and the body of the cane. The biggest difference between a high quality and low quality paint is the amount of pigment. And when it comes to painting wood, we don't necessarily want a lot of pigment. So depending on what you're doing, you can actually get by with some of the lower quality paints. What we're going to do now, I want to do a light wash on our crow here. We don't have to be too picky going around pine needles here because those will be painted over. Now with crows, their beaks are also black, so I'm going to go ahead and do a light wash on the beak. And as you can see, the paint pools in the lower areas. That'll give us a deeper color on those low areas and provide us with a bit of highlight and contrast. I'll pick up a bit more water. Okay, we're going to let that dry for a little bit. Okay, unfortunately I lost a little bit of footage where I was painting the leaves and pine needles here, so we'll do this over again. We're just waiting for our crow wash to dry, where we mixed a bit of water with our pigment and put on a light wash. What we have on our palette here, we've got Hooker's Green, Primary Yellow. We have a bit of black if we need to deepen up our green a bit. So we're going to go ahead with the green. We're not going to thin it down with any water. Now as you can see, you can still see some of that lovely green showing through. And it's also pooling nicely in our low areas. Now for our highlights, we can take a little bit of our yellow. We don't need to wash our brush, just pick up a little bit of yellow on the tip and then drop it in over the wet. We want to deepen up our stem a little bit. Now we can go in and start and do some of our pine needles here. I'm just going to wash my brush off. Again, we're using this full strength. Just drop our color in. Now you can wipe this off with your finger or a little piece of paper towel. And again, you'll get little spots where our grain is showing through. We want to highlight. Again, drop in a little bit of yellow. Smudge that around a bit. Gives us some contrast and highlight. So I'll continue doing that, and once I'm done the leaves, we'll finish up our crow. Now we've got our leaves and pine needles done, and our crow is dry. So we're going to go in and start adding some detail to him. I want to deepen up just this area under the beak here. Darken that up a little bit. Now we'll do our eye. Okay, we're going to clean our brush and drop in a little bit of titanium white. There. That gives them a bit more life. Now we're going to go in and do a dry brush technique. Here we're going to take the paint straight off the palette, but we want the brush to be dry, so we'll take a piece of paper towel and just dab this so the brush is... When you use a dry brush, you have more control over where the paint goes. Oh, this might be too wet. Where's my... There it is. There. So as you can see, we're just skimming the surface, so the area isn't being saturated with paint. And this is, you know, a lot of practice, figuring out how much pressure to apply. Okay, we're going to add a bit more dark to our crow here. The area at the back isn't going to be getting as much light, so we can deepen that up. There. You can add more detail as you go along. But I think that's looking pretty good now.